even before this rate of fire buff that the AMR9 just got for Warzone, it was usable for sure.
It's absolutely meta now, actually. That's basically the fastest time to kill of all the meta SMGs up close with that insane first damage range. I mean, it kills faster than the HRM, just the sub everyone kind of thinks is OP. Now, this is killing close range like 570 milliseconds.
Activision devs do not play their own game.
3,000 devs can't figure out how to add a reconnect feature to a AAA title, I guess. I don't know.
Because Infinity Ward doesn't tell their consumers anything.
Maybe that'll take some of the sweats away from Shoot House.
You can cope about that for sure.
Thanks for tweeting, at least. Thanks for doing more than Infinity Ward has done. They just keep tweeting about the soccer bundles in the store.
Things that are bad. We got a couple words. Why don't you kick it off, Tanner?
This is going to be a longer section than the first part you guys heard.
Change it, obviously, of course. We are live, boys and girls. Welcome to the Dropshot Call of Duty podcast, episode number 395. My name is Casey, also known as Razinon. Today, I'm joined by Tanner, and we have an episode for you guys and girls, I guess. The two of you females listening. How's life, Tanner? You're in chill mode, huh?
I usually am. I'm usually in chill mode.
Yeah, you usually are, I guess.
I'm always in chill mode. So much more comfortable.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You're only not in chill mode when you're gaming. Otherwise, it's full chill all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
And even that, it depends on the game. Tarkov is a no chill game.
Yeah,
COD, I can throw it in chill mode. I throw it in chill mode all the time on COD. Actually.
Really? Just don't care at all, huh?
It was usually like I'm so close to my Z button, which is prone, so I usually just like lay there and then I'll have to use my mouse. Game auto reloads for me when I run out of ammo. You don't have to do anything, so I can go full chill with that.
Well, it's an extremely high skill gap BR, so I'm kind of surprised you're able to do that. But
yeah,
anyways,
that is true.
Welcome to the show. How is that chair holding up, by the way? I missed mine.
Oh, miserable. Yeah, miserable.
Oh, really?
It's falling apart. Yeah, awful quality. I would never buy one again. I would never again buy a Secret Lab chair.
Really?
I still think it's really comfortable, but dude, I told you about it. The seat is destroyed. It split like a year and a half ago. I had the chair for like a year and a half before it split in the seam, and it's just foam right there. There's like a metal rod sticking out that's always there, but
yeah. Yeah, I had the same experience. Mine was really comfortable, but the armrest started like degrading pretty freaking soon. Like months.
Yeah, you're right. My armrests are like peeling if you grab the edges and stuff. Yeah, it's not. It is still comfortable, but the quality is just not there. It seems good quality when you get it, but it's not long-lasting quality, Yeah,
it just starts falling apart. Yeah. It is super comfortable, though. I liked how comfortable mine was.
Mm-hmm.
I have a Herman Miller now. It's not falling apart at all, but it's comfortable enough, but it's not worth the price tag. Like I feel like I could have bought like it's like a basic chair. Like anyway.
You're insane for buying a new Herman Miller too. You find those on OfferUp for $350 to $500 all day long. There are warehouses full of them.
Yeah,
warehouses, and they're brand new. They're basically brand new. Because offices buy a bunch, they get rid of them when they fire everyone, like Activision.
Yeah,
and they sell them for dirt cheap.
Yeah, that's probably if you're in the Anaheim area, you guys could probably snag a couple dozen Herman Millers that they're selling. Yeah, since they fired all their employees. We'll get into it. Anyways, welcome to the show. Today, we have an episode on Call of Duty. Not too much has gone on this week in terms of changes that have been made to the game, although there were some, which we will get into. But there were a lot of layoffs as a result of, I suspect, and we'll get more into that speculation in a moment, or later in this episode, the acquisition of Activision by Microsoft, which is not super surprising to most adults, but we'll get into that when we get there. So yeah.
Bobby Kotick never laid them all off.
Well, so a couple things changed with the game, and then we'll get into all the, this is the talk of the TL right now. As we're recording, we're getting like live tweets from disgruntled former employees. But anyways, before we get into all that, couple quick announcements. First of all, we would like to give a warm welcome to our new patrons, our new gold patrons, Sub1KD and Matt L. Boys, welcome aboard the Patreon. Good to have you here, Sub1KD and Matt L. Thank you very much, Kings. Sub1KD, a little micro Twitter celebrity, by the way, which is cool. And another old man.
Yeah, old man, huh?
Another real old guy, yeah.
A lot of old men around here.
He sent me a nice DM when we were going through the CDL fiasco.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he was like, dude, this is hilarious. These people are like sports fans. He named a particular team.
That's exactly what I was saying in the Patreon episode. I was like, yeah, it's like CDL fan. It's their sport. It's their nerd sport. Yeah, so they get real into it. I get it.
Yeah, he picked a particular team, and I just went along with it. He was like, oh, they're like Raiders fans or whatever.
Oh, sports.
Team.
I know sports. Yeah.
And I was like, totally. They're totally like those fans. I know all about them.
You're like, who's that team? Yeah.
But he was kind of right. Yeah. And like you said, it's like just this like fanatical craziness. But anyway, it was funny. So welcome, boys, to you and to Matt as well. And also, people better than both of you have upgraded from gold to platinum. Kill Crew 86 and Lemon Frames, change both of them, have upgraded from gold to platinum tier on the Patreon. They loved the content and the benefits so much, they wanted more of them. Let that be a hint to the rest of you listening. It is worth upgrading. Kill Crew 86 and Lemon Frames, thank you guys very much for upgrading to platinum. Now, speaking of the Patreon, we've been busy this week, and we will continue to be busy this week. And we've done a couple of Patreon episodes already, both of which are now live. So on Tuesday, we recorded a nice little brainstorm, and it was fun and interesting and kind of different than brainstorms we've done in the past. We talked about some more perks, particularly like quick fix, tempered, flex, high alert, and even restock. And it was a pretty interesting conversation. We talked about what lethals to be running and a lot about tax stance as well, which I think was a worthwhile discussion. I liked that brainstorm in particular, which is available now for all of our patrons at any tier, because no one's like talking about tax stance or a lot of the perks we talked about. Actually, we gave some things their due, which do not really get talked about broadly, which I enjoyed. So that was a nice little brainstorm ep, which is now live. How did you like that one?
Yeah, that was a good one. We talked about like some different guns and stuff we've been trying, maybe like a meta shotgun, the Haymaker, different builds with that. Some of the different when we were recording this, they had it was right when the patch went out that we're going to talk about, where they changed the AMR 9 conversion kit.
Yes.
So then we kind of talked a little bit about that during that, talking about, maybe, this could be meta. Basically, we'll have to see how the damage profiles play out, but that attachment got a lot better than it was. So, and then kind of just the game, our experience lately with the video game.
Yeah, we talked a lot about that as well. If you've been extra struggling more than usual in Warzone lately, we talked about that as well, because that's kind of been our experience, and we gave a couple of reasons why that might be. So anyway, it was a good episode. That's now live for all of our patrons if you wanted to listen to that. And then for all of our Damascus patrons as well, our behind the scenes episode went live this morning. And that was a really fun episode as well. We got into the behind the scenes of the viral moment we had, which I think any of you guys who've been listening for a while, who, wanted to know what it was like for us when we had a TikTok of ours get 7 million views on Twitter, you can hear all about that in that behind the scenes episode. That was a really fun episode. And we talked about some other things too that the public at large has no idea is going on in the background. I really enjoyed our latest behind the scenes, and it just went live.
Yeah, that was different than the usual ones. We talked about some different things. But yeah, we can't leak anything, so that's all we're gonna tell you. We talked about different things than we usually do. So listen to it if you can. Yeah.
So for all you Damascus patrons, that's now live. You can go listen to it. And if you're not a Damascus patron, become one, and then you can listen to it. So yeah. Other than that, in terms of announcements, not really much else to say.
No.
I don't think. Yeah. Saturday, the episode Saturday we will be doing is going to be interesting as well. I think this Saturday we're going to be doing a more proper first impressions, but not totally settled on that yet. But we will keep you guys posted, obviously, or we won't actually. You'll just see on Saturday. It'll be fun and exciting though. And I don't think it's going to be Q&A. So those are your little teasers. So if you're listening for the jingle, here it is.
Do you know what it's going to be?
I think so.
Kind of sounds like you don't.
Do you?
I mean, yeah, I thought I knew.
Yeah, we had a plan. I just don't remember it.
I mean, it was basically just first impressions talking about the game.
Okay, yeah.
And that's what you said.
That's literally actually what I said. All right, boys and girls, welcome to the Dropshot Call of Duty podcast, episode number 395. So, first little section here, patch notes changes already in effect. We got a patch 2 days ago on the 23rd, and they have once again bifurcated the notes here, which I appreciate, into multiplayer / zombies, and then a dedicated Warzone section. So we're going to go over those first. Here we go. Tuesday, January 23rd. So this first section here is on multiplayer / zombies. Not a big patch, by the way, but just a couple of things. And as always, we're not going to go over every single thing that changed with the patch, just the things that are noteworthy. So, let's see.
Yeah, nothing matters until the weapon attachments.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like anything really matters here. So, weapons and attachments, multiplayer / zombies. Many balance adjustments in today's update target aftermarket parts. In the following section, you'll find insights from our design team that aim to explain the intent behind some changes. And they wrote a little blurb as well. One goal of our design team is to create conversion kits that offer players fun and unexpected experiences with familiar weapons. A part of this goal is to maintain a balance where conversion kits enhance a weapon's capabilities without overshadowing its original role. Based on your feedback and a review of recently released aftermarket parts, we've implemented significant changes for you to experience today. Wow. Looking ahead, we've refined our approach to balancing aftermarket parts to ensure that they're powerful, worth the grind, and most importantly, fun. Okay, so that all sounds good. Because one of the issues I foresaw with aftermarket parts and have since had once they were actually implemented was exactly what they're kind of hinting at here, which is like an aftermarket part is an attachment that dramatically changes a gun that also costs me an attachment slot. So if all it does is change how the gun works, it's basically like I'm just removing an attachment slot for no reason. And like again, so for example, Holger 556, there's an aftermarket part that makes it a 3-round burst. Well, the gun by default is full auto. So why would I want to use an attachment to make an AR a burst AR when I could just use a burst AR instead and then have all 5 attachments to use instead of having to just use one on making it burst fire? That seems goofy. Now, they're trying to think of ways where that becomes worth it. So let's see if they've accomplished their goal. Holger 556, Jack Signal Burst. Increase the recoil control benefit by 10%. So 10% less recoil. And the gun kick benefit as well by 10%. So 10% better recoil and gun kick. Okay, that's good. That might be worth the attachment slot. So again, I could just go use the FR556 if I wanted to use a burst fire weapon, and I don't have to waste an attachment slot to make it a burst fire gun. But if I use the Holger's aftermarket part to make it burst, instead of just giving me burst, if it also makes it an absolute laser, maybe that's worth it. Here's another thing. Decreased burst fire delay from 120 to 90 milliseconds. That's a huge buff. That directly translates to time to kill. You can fire your subsequent burst sooner after the last one. That literally directly translates to TTK and viability. So that's pretty interesting. Here's what they say. Although the signal burst possesses lethal one burst kill potential, its recoil often limits its effectiveness at the most common engagement ranges. Additionally, its burst delay caused difficulty in landing a follow-up burst to confirm kills. Today's changes target these weaknesses, making this a more favorable option. So now the question is it worth it over just using it in full auto? I don't know. The fact that it's possible to get a one burst kill, and now they've buffed it so that if you don't get the one burst kill, you can more easily clean up the kill and more quickly because of the reduced delay, does make it sound more attractive. I'd have to try it myself, but sounds like a good idea, the buffs they've made. And it certainly doesn't sound overpowered. It's either good or it's still not good enough. I think those are the only two options, having not tried it. I can't imagine this is like an OP gun now, but yeah.
That delay still kind of seems like a long time. 90 milliseconds between bursts. Because, like, for example, I'm trying to think of something that easy to compare it to, and I can think of like the TYR handgun, how that fire delay, how annoying that is. And that's what, like a 40 millisecond delay to clicking and it firing or something?
Different than a burst delay, but yeah, it's I don't know how long it is. That's a good question.
But I'm still saying, like, if you're
just gauging the time.
Like the time between shots, basically, with a gun like that compared to like how fast you could fire a burst. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, like maybe in multiplayer, a lot of guns are viable in multiplayer, but I haven't heard anything about this in Warzone yet. I doubt it'll. Burst guns have to be basically OP in order for people to run them in Warzone, since they're harder to use.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I mean, it would have to kill like 100 milliseconds faster than a RAM or something at range for people to consider running it, and I doubt it does.
Yeah, for Warzone, I do not see this being viable. Although the fact that they made it have less recoil maybe means it's like super easy to hit people pretty far. So I doubt it's good in Warzone, though. I agree with you. But for multiplayer, it sounds like it's better now. Worth it is a different question. But anyway, the Sidewinder, the Jack Thunder LMG kit. Decreased bullets required to reach max rate of fire from 25 to 15. Okay.
When did this come out? I literally don't know. I don't remember this.
I think it was this week, actually. So I think it was like really recently, yeah. Because I went out of my way to do all the weekly challenges when we were leveling the new guns. And I don't remember this being a reward. So I'm almost positive this is like the week 8 reward, the Jack Thunder LMG kit. I'm not reading you guys the blurb. I don't care. Let me be clear. This gun sucks and it's never going to be good. And I don't care what aftermarket part you add to it. Unless the aftermarket part is like, we changed the Sidewinder into a 1200 RPM rocket launcher with 10,000 meters per second bullet velocity, a splash radius of 1 kilometer, and 10,000 damage if you're in the radius. Unless that's the aftermarket part, this gun still sucks. So I don't care. Doesn't matter. This gun is unsalvageably bad. So there you go. Doesn't matter. The AMR9. So they did a lot to the AMR9. This is just the base gun. They made about 10 different changes to it. Decreased damage ranges, increased headshot multi, decreased torso multi. I'm not reading all of them, but they did a bunch of changes to it, some of which are nerfs, some of which are buffs. It looks like, if I had to say overall, it was like more normalized. I don't know. Weird. They changed it a lot in multiplayer. They changed a lot of the multipliers. They increased some of them and decreased others. And then they also decreased the max damage range and the medium damage range. But then they increased the rate of fire as well, from 789 to 833 RPM. So because of the rate of fire change, overall, I would say this was buffed, especially for multiplayer, actually, because those damage range values matter less in multiplayer than like Warzone. So I'd say this was buffed a little bit, but some things were definitely changed, or nerfed rather, with multipliers, which is weird. And then that's all applying to the base gun. In addition, they changed how the aftermarket part works. So Tanner and I talked about this last week when the double barrel kit was brand new, and it was like the worst attachment of all time. It was like weird.
It had bloom.
Bullets didn't go where you went. Yeah, where you aimed rather. It had bloom. It was very strange. So here's what they say they've changed about it. Overhauled the firing mechanism to simultaneously fire 2 bullets per shot. So I guess it wasn't doing that before. It was doing like an alternating pattern.
It was essentially bursting before. Yeah, very weird.
Yeah. And they added locational damage multipliers. So, so the multipliers are all below 1.0 except for the head. You get a 1.0 head multi, and then everywhere else you get a 0.9 or 0.8 multi. And I guess this is to counteract the fact that you're getting a way higher fire rate by having a double barrel. Decrease the ADS spread by 75%, so that bloom. So I guess there still is some bloom, but there's less now. And then decrease the hipfire spread penalty by 50%. So maybe a viable hipfire gun now. Although,
yeah, I wonder. Unless it was just awful before with hipfire.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. So
yeah,
it's weird. Upon release, this aftermarket part did not function as designed. With this update, it's been reworked to truly fire 2 bullets at once, noticeably improving its time to kill. Additionally, we've significantly reduced the ADS spread and recoil, allowing better control in close mid-range engagements where the ETN, the aftermarket part, is intended to shine. So, yeah, Tanner and I did talk about this in our latest bonus episode, Patreon episode. I haven't used it yet, but people were speculating on the timeline that it might be worth using now. I have not heard anything about that since. For multiplayer, I suspect this is probably better than using a default AMR9, just because you're getting a lot more fire rate out of it. So it'll go from 833 without the aftermarket part to like 1150 or something, according to JGod. Once you put the aftermarket part on. So like if I'm playing multiplayer and I'm still grinding camos and I'm using the AMR9, is it worth an attachment slot just to increase my RPM by 300 meters per second? Or excuse me, 300 rounds per minute? Yes, 100%. A rapid fire attachment like in the CODs of old were almost always worth using. They were always the best attachment because more rounds per minute is a faster time to kill, obviously. Now they counteract that a little bit again with the multipliers that it has, but it's still probably overall a faster TTK by a good margin, I would guess, with this increased fire rate. I don't know that for certain, but
it's not.
Okay, got it.
I have it pulled up. I was just waiting for you to finish. It's not.
Yeah, tell us some more about it.
It's not good. Yeah, it's just worse than the base AMR9. Like the ones you're talking about of the past, the fire rate type things to get a faster fire rate, those were broken because it just increased the fire rate and put the same amount of damage out. So of course it's going to be way better. The gun's doing the same amount of damage with a faster fire rate. This it does less damage with a faster fire rate.
I see. Okay.
So it kind of doesn't even make sense. So it's like basically the way it seems like they're building it is trying to make it a close range option for the AMR9. So it's got like, it has its first damage range is half the distance of the base AMR9, which is 22 meters, basically 23 meters, which is very, very good for the first damage drop off with no attachments for an SMG, right?
Yeah.
With that conversion kit, it's 11 and a half. And even from 0 to 11 and a half, it's killing like 50, 60 milliseconds slower.
Really? Than the base gun?
AMR9.
Wow.
So,
how
and
dumb.
just with half the damage range. So it doesn't make any sense to run at all. So like between 10 and 23 meters, for example, it's like 160 milliseconds slower than the base AMR9. So this makes no sense to run at all.
This is Warzone numbers, right?
This is Warzone. For multiplayer, though, it's the same thing. It's slower everywhere. I'm just using Warzone numbers, but it's the same thing. It's slower everywhere in multiplayer as well.
Okay. Got it.
It does, it's technically better at range in multiplayer. It gets faster at that distance, but since you still have an amount of bloom, it's not going to make sense there, I don't think.
I agree.
So
especially
this
for
is
an
not
attachment
worth
slot.
running in anything, it seems like. Yeah.
Yeah, that's super dumb. I don't know why they would do that. There are better ways to implement that.
Yeah, and then another thing too is like you always say with the aftermarket parts, for it takes a weapon attachment away, so you're losing one there. Another thing, AMR9 has awful iron sights. They're unusable in my opinion. You have to run an optic with that gun. So right there, 2 attachments that I automatically would have to run: the conversion kit and an optics. Then you only get 3 other attachments for the gun. The other one's going to have to be a magazine. So then you get basically 2 attachments to build it how you want. Control recoil, make it faster. It's an awful gun. Yeah. Sorry, it's not an awful gun. It's a really good gun. The double barrel kit is awful and not worth running.
Yeah. It's like, it sounds like literally the only benefit you get out of it is it becomes more forgiving because its fire rate is faster. So like, if you tend to miss bullets, it'll be maybe better for you. I doubt it though, because it's more forgiving. But that's the only thing it does for you, and that's not worth the cons you get for it. Yeah. If they wanted to do this, I think what it should do is like do the same damage, have the same multipliers, but just cut the damage ranges way down. I think that would make it make sense. Because then it's like way better up to like 10 meters or whatever, but from 10 to 22, it's worse. That would make it worth running and not necessarily like overpowered. But when they just ruin the multipliers for no reason, it doesn't make any sense. Especially if they ruin the multipliers so much so that it has a slower time to kill at every range than not running the attachment slot. Like, it's absurd how bad that is. I don't know what they're thinking. I don't get it. I
And this is...
I want to say you should expect this to be buffed again, honestly. That's how bad this is.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, because like you were saying too, with the higher fire rate, it is more forgiving. And like in multiplayer, it kills faster at range, technically at 40 meters, but you're going to miss shots because of the bloom. So even then, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's just it's a bad aftermarket part.
Yeah.
As most aftermarket parts are. There are very few that have been viable or worth running so far. Yeah. Also, every time they put one out, it's bugged. Have they put out an aftermarket part that's not bugged?
The ones
this
on
wasn't
launch
working as
really
intended.
Bugged, but the after release ones, yeah.
Everyone's the irons were bugged. Like everything that has came out as an aftermarket part has been bugged on launch.
Yeah, not great. So anyway, yeah, I would expect this to get buffed again, honestly, because this is really bad. Yeah, and
that's another
also
thing.
Misleading if you're a casual, by the way, because if you're a casual, you think, oh, 2 barrels. That means it fires twice as many bullets in the same amount of time. That means it's going to kill faster. Like that's...
Well, I think it tells you it does less damage. I think it says that in the pros and cons list.
Yeah.
Plus we have detailed stats now, so they can look at stats. But I didn't notice this. You can't run a muzzle, barrel, or laser with this either.
Yeah.
So cool. You have to run a rear grip and a stock, basically. Those are your options for building it. It's not good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing about aftermarket parts that don't get talked about a lot. It will just negate a lot of other attachment slots as well. So anyway, there you go. So let's move on to another one. The Rival 9, the Jack Headhunter carbine conversion. So this makes the Rival 9 a 3-round burst. It's not good at all, or at least it wasn't before this change. And they changed a bunch of things. I'm not really going to read any of these, although I'll read a couple. The headshot multi went from 1.3 to 2x. So if you hit headshots with this burst aftermarket part on the Rival 9, you will be doing double damage. That's really good. And then same with the neck, 1.1 multi to 1.5. And then upper torso, 1.1 to 1.5. So basically what they're trying to do is say the way you maximize using this burst attachment is by going for headshots, being accurate. You get rewarded for accuracy. You get punished for being off of inaccurate. And then there were a couple other changes as well. True to its namesake, this is most lethal when you can accurately land shots to the head and upper torso. Yeah. Today's changes increase its lethality and decrease the burst delay in order to improve its ability to duel at a distance. We intend for this to play more like an agile mid-range AR than an SMG. We expect that it may be outperformed by the base Rival 9 at close range, obviously. So, yeah, I mean, here's the thing. The base Rival 9 is so good that I'm never doing this.
Yeah.
Like they say here, they expect it to perform like a mid-range AR. Okay, dude, if I want to use a mid-range AR, I'm just going to go use a mid-range AR. Like a Holger or an MCW.
Yeah.
Like, or an AMR9. I'm not going to like waste an attachment slot on a really good SMG that performs well without the aftermarket part. So this is goofy. I mean, maybe it's decent, but again, like, unless there's a particular weapon camo that, like, if I need headshots with a Rival 9 and I'm doing the headshot camo, I would probably put this on, actually, because double headshot damage means if you're aiming at the head, you're going to get headshots more easily, I would expect. That would be one use of this aftermarket part I could see myself using. But once I'm done with the weapon camo, which I am, by the way, I have Interstellar, the Mastery camo, by the way, I'm never using this again. So, yeah, just...
They should add more aim assist to the head, specifically. When you ADS, it just goes straight to the head, and then also one burst.
Stop. Moving on to the DM56 Signal Burst. Increased recoil benefits by 10%, and again, decreased the burst delay. I have not tried that. I'm very curious to see how well that performs, Because the DM56 without the aftermarket part is really good and really slept on in multiplayer. And having it in burst, especially now with this buff, sounds like it would be super gross. Especially 10% less recoil and gun kick. Dude, that thing barely moved as it is. So this is probably like an absolute laser beam. And I'm curious how many bursts it is to kill. But now with a less of a burst delay as well, this could be really fun in multiplayer, actually. I would definitely try that. I could see this being good because we're not making a full auto gun burst fire. We're making a semi-auto gun burst fire. That alone makes it way more attractive than the other burst kits we've looked at so far. So I could see this being quite good. I don't know though, but yeah.
Yeah, there's no conversion kit on True Game Data because I'm kind of thinking the opposite. I'm thinking you can click this thing so fast it's essentially full auto. Firing burst, I think, would just make the gun strictly worse. Because you can click so fast, it almost feels like a slow fire rate fully auto gun. That's the best part of it. So even having to incur that burst fire delay, in my opinion, I think is just making the gun worse. I think it's making it more awkward to use for something that's already incredibly easy to use and hit headshots with.
Yeah, that's true. I see what you're saying, but if it could become a one burst kill, then that makes it really good. Like if you hit like all upper torso, is it a one burst kill in multiplayer? Because if it is, that TTK is going to be faster than using it in semi-auto. Because at least the burst, before any delay is incurred, those shots are going to come out faster than firing 3 semi-auto or whatever.
Yeah, so also though, like Absolute is saying, which so may or may not be true, the aftermarket part itself could add recoil already. So then they're just buffing the aftermarket part, and so they're decreasing the amount of recoil, but the part by itself was already adding recoil.
So now
then you're getting a burst DM56, which still just has more recoil than a fully built one.
Yeah.
In semi-auto. So yeah,
that's possible. I don't know.
Probably not good, but I don't even know if I have this one unlocked either. I have no idea. I don't know when this one came out.
I think it came out at launch, so I think you do have it unlocked.
Then I probably do have it unlocked.
Yeah.
Okay. I've just never used it.
Yeah, I'd be very curious to try this though. It could be good, I would say.
Yeah.
And then another change to breacher drones. Detonation upon impact within 5 meters will now occur with a decreased detection radius. Okay. So it just makes it a little more reliable in multiplayer. Because it was like running past people pretty often, I guess.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's fine.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And then some zombies changes as well that we will not get into because we haven't played zombies yet. Although, spoiler alert, we might start playing some zombies for the month of February and have some bonus content on that. We will let you guys know if that is solidified. But yeah. Basically, the TLDR, Dokebi's week-long spotlight has ended, and now a random warlord will be selected at the start of each match.
Wow.
So you don't. So if you've gotten bored of that particular one, rejoice.
I have, yeah. Grinded him too many times.
Yeah, her. All right, so
okay.
Today's episode is brought to you by our Patreon, where we offer our members all of our EPs ad-free and early access. Starting at just $5 a month, join at the gold tier. Patrons also get a unique Discord role as well as 3 raw, uncensored Call of Duty bonus episodes every month. In addition to, of course, the backlog of every bonus episode we've ever done in the past. Our first bonus episode this month was a Warzone brainstorm. We got into some perks and we talked a lot about flex versus high alert. We talked about quick fix versus tempered. I even considered restock as a perk. Go listen to the whole episode if you want to hear more details on that, because I know it sounds kind of crazy, but hear me out. I mean, we got into a little tax stand stuff as well, among other things. And then another bonus ep we're going to be doing shortly will be on weapon setups and attachments specifically, and how those interact and how you should be building guns, especially with the new Jack BFB muzzle. Now there is a lot to say on attachments and how to marry those attachments, and that's going to be our next bonus episode this month, and I'm very excited to get into that because there are a lot of attachments that people just don't really know about. If you wanted even more content, you could join at $10 a month. For the platinum tier, you get everything gold gets, along with a Q&A episode where only you guys ask or hear the answers to questions. And the Damascus tier, the final tier at $20 a month, gets you all that and a behind the scenes episode. We just recorded our behind the scenes episode for this month, actually, and it was really fun. We talked about us going viral, some behind the scenes stuff, more ads we're considering throwing into public EPs like this one, and some IRL things as well. In addition, you would also get the Damascus only patron hangouts every month that we do, and the Discord Damascus Lounge, which is the most active channel in our Discord. If you hated hearing this ad, sign up for the Patreon. You'll never have to listen to another ad of any type ever again on this program. Let's get back to the show. Moving on to the Warzone specific patch notes from the 23rd. Again, this was 2 days ago, and these are exclusive to Warzone. So,
but they're not. Section, they're the same ones we just read for multiplayer. They just put them in here again.
Got it. Yeah. So again, the Jack signal burst. Yeah, you're right. Yep, you're exactly right.
It's all the same patch notes, actually, other than bug fixes.
Okay, I don't like them doing this anymore then, because that's confusing. Well, it's not, but it's annoying. Yeah. Basically, they did all the same weapon changes, but also they had some bug fixes as well.
Yeah.
That was it. So, as far as all these weapon changes go, this changes nothing in terms of Warzone. No one's using the signal burst on the Holger. No one's using the Sidewinder. No one's using the AMR9 conversion kit, or the Rival 9 or DM56 conversion kit. The only thing I will say, though, the base AMR9's rate of fire was increased by 6%, and that does apply to Warzone as well. This is the only thing that actually could impact Warzone, and I think some people are, in fact, now experimenting with the AMR9, because even before this rate of fire buff that the AMR9 just got for Warzone, it was usable for sure in Warzone, and now it's a little better.
Yeah, it's absolutely meta now, actually. It has basically the fastest time to kill of all the meta SMGs up close with that insane first damage range. I mean, it kills faster than the HRM, which is the sub everyone kind of thinks is OP. Now, this is killing close range like 570 milliseconds. I mean, that's faster than faster than like the ISO 45 killed in Warzone 2 last year. So yeah, it is killing very fast. It just doesn't quite have the handling of the HRM. I need to try it again, but I just like the HRM better as of right now. But AMR9 is definitely very, very good. It's probably overall, it's just a better sub, actually.
Well,
because it has the insane damage range. People are building them as ARs and stuff now. It's a lot more viable for many situations, basically. You can build it a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
I like the HRM better because the irons, and I can run irons and not have to worry about that.
But the HRM also very, very handles way faster than the AMR, which I think there's something to be said about that. Like, even though it does kill slower inside of whatever, 22 meters, I guess, you have to take into account the HRM. You're going to be like getting shots on. If you like surprised each other, you know, we both like turn into a hallway at the exact same time and see each other, HRM actually probably wins that gunfight in like a practical scenario where it's just heads up, you both surprise each other, because it handles so much faster than the AMR does. But that doesn't mean the AMR is like bad, like you said. Yeah. I just don't think it's like the obvious go-to pick no matter what necessarily.
Yeah, I'm just saying like that is it. You can build it a lot of different ways. Like if you want a sniper support gun, that's probably the thing to run now is an AMR9.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can use it as a good sub. But like I said, I didn't like it when I use it as a sub because you're right. It is slow handling. And that we did talk about that on the last Patreon episode as well. I think the HRM is the best personally from what I've ran. It feels so good.
It feels really,
does not move.
Really crisp.
Absolutely perfect iron sights. It's a beautiful gun to use. But yeah, AMR 9 definitely very good.
Yeah. So something to try if you guys haven't used it yet. Definitely.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on, we got a couple of other things as well. On the 22nd, this was a good change. A minor playlist update went live to disable the Maelstrom dual trigger attachment for the Lockwood 300. Because they, once again, it was one tapping everyone at like every range. So they have just removed it from the game, which is good. I don't know how this always happens, but okay. It's gone now for now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, maybe we should just
keep it removed.
Vault that attachment forever.
Just vault it.
Because every time you do anything to the game, it somehow gets bugged. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So for ranked play specifically, on Subbase, Hardpoint has been temporarily removed because evidently, so we talked about this last week. Hardpoint did not exist when Modern Warfare 2 came out, and all these maps are MW2 maps. So they had to create their own hardpoints. And then last week, they changed where the hardpoint locations are for a bunch of maps, one of which was Subbase. And I remember saying, oh, that's good, because the first hardpoint in Subbase was bad. It was like at mid and it was impossible to hold. You just would constantly die on it, and it was annoying. However, it turns out it wasn't good. Because I guess the new 5 hardpoint selection locations they made were not great either. And I guess this has been I guess everyone agrees on this point, Tanner. That's what you've been seeing.
I've seen nothing but complaints about sub-base hardpoint. Yeah. CDL players, I saw them tweeting about like, this is the worst hardpoint map we've ever had in COD. So I don't know. We haven't played it, but I don't know. I thought it was fine in pubs for the most part.
For the most part, like, it was fine.
I'm just like weapon grinding when I'm playing pubs. I'm not like trying to win hardpoint, so I've never thought too much about it. You know, now that I think about it, whenever somebody would take a hardpoint on Subbase, actually, I feel like we could never retake it. It's like it was a hard map to retake hills, and I don't really know why, but again, we weren't out there sweating trying to win playing hard. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about the other ones, but yeah. So anyway, yeah, they may or may not add that back, but anyway, there you go. And then the HRM 50 round mag. So yeah, the new SMG, the HRM, is really good in multiplayer and Warzone. So a lot of people have been leveling it, unlocking it, and attempting to put attachments on. One attachment they were trying to put on people was the 50 round magazine, which is a pretty important attachment, by the way. And
the biggest mag, yeah. It is.
Yeah, it was just not working for like most people. Well, I'd say like half of the people. Some people could use it and some people couldn't. The unlock criteria, by the way, for Criterion for the 50 round mag was just to get it to level like 16 or something. It was just level lock, that was it. But then people would max level the gun and still wouldn't have it. This is now fixed. So if you are the requisite level, you should now be able to use that magazine, which is good. Because it's really fun gun, really fun to use. I was using it in multiplayer. It was great. I used it in Warzone even at like level 7 with just a 30 round mag, and it was still really great. And I was still like getting kills with it amazingly. Yeah. And again, we talked about that more on our last Patreon episode, patreon.com/Dropshot. But anyways, yeah, now 50 round mag should be usable. So that's good. So there you go.
Yeah.
And then that's it. So not too many substantive changes really to the game this week. I would say with the exception of obviously the new guns, the attachments working on the new guns, and that buff to the AMR. that is changing the landscape a little bit in Warzone, but not the long range meta. So
yeah.
Now we've got some news and upcoming changes. A lot of things happening over at Activision Studios. Tanner, tell us about this first little article here.
Yeah, first thing here, we have an article from Insider Gaming. This article actually came out yesterday, so before the next thing we're going to talk about. The article is about Sledgehammer Games going back to mostly remote work, basically. They're like downsizing their office, going back to remote work, versus most of the other studios. And I think Activision had actually said, you guys need to come back to the office 5 days a week. So they're downsizing and they're going back to remote work, blah, blah. Not that interesting. The one interesting thing out of this is Tom, or whoever wrote this article, I don't know if it was actually Tom. I think it probably was. They talked about the upcoming COD release schedule, which we got a little bit of info from. So here it is. COD 2024, as we know, this year will be a Treyarch Black Ops title. COD 2025, we're getting kind of what we had this year with like MW 2 going to MW 3. It is going to be a Black Ops 2 sequel, something along those lines. And then COD 2026, this is kind of where we're getting new info, will be the all-new Infinity Ward game. And COD 2027 is when Sledgehammer will have their next main title. So Sledgehammer's main title, 23, was MW3, of course. So they've got 4 years before their next main title. And the best thing of all seems to be confirmed. The next Infinity Ward title, only getting a 1-year cycle.
I wish
only
it was a month
one-year
cycle, but yeah.
So we're almost, for the Treyarch lovers out there, I know we have a lot of those here in the Discord. We're gonna have
one of them,
basically 2 years of Treyarch games upcoming here. Yeah, and then just 1 year of Infinity Ward, then back to Sledgehammer again.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's the best news of all.
Yeah. That's the only thing here that I like actually care about, and that actually affects us mostly. Working from home, I mean, that's cool. I don't know. A lot of people like working from home. So Sledgehammer doing that, I guess, is good. But anyways, the more important thing, again, the big announcement there is Infinity Ward will only get 1 year for the next 3, which is quite nice. I will take that.
Yeah,
I hope
and the
Infinity
article
Ward
also
gets canned, to be clear.
Yeah.
So
the article also says COD 2026 Infinity Ward's game understood to be in the Modern Warfare universe, so not going to get anything crazy, and it's going to be another Modern Warfare game.
Yep.
I like Modern Warfare era games, but at some point they're going to have to do something else real soon.
Yeah.
I mean, Modern Warfare 2019, Modern Warfare 2, right now
we've gotten so
3.
many.
We're going to have to mix it up somehow. I don't know what they would do because they've already been on record, which could totally change, but they've said like we will not be making any more jetpack games. Maybe that'll change though. Never know.
Yeah.
Because I don't see how they could just keep putting out Modern Warfare titles for the next 10 years and it not getting redundant at that point. I don't know.
Yeah, I tend to agree, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there, so whatever.
But anyways, here we go. This is the talk of the TL right now. I saw it first on Charlie Intel. So breaking, Microsoft is laying off 1,900 workers from their Xbox division, including employees at Activision, Blizzard, Bethesda. All of Bethesda should just be gone, let's be clear. And more. This comes just 4 months after Microsoft closed the $70 billion acquisition of Activision. So IGN wrote some stuff about it.
Wait,
blah, blah.
Microsoft owns Bethesda?
Haven't they owned Bethesda for like years and years?
I guess so. I didn't know that. Oh, that's very interesting. Okay. Anyway, sorry.
So Phil Spencer, the CEO of Microsoft, said some things. One of the things he said is, as part of this process, we made the painful decision to reduce the size of our gaming workforce by approximately 1,900 roles out of the 22,000 people on our team.
Oh, wow.
So when they say Activision Blizzard, that is all of the COD support studios as well, because they're all under the Activision umbrella. So Raven, Infinity Ward, Toys for Bob, High Moon, Treyarch, all of those are under the Activision umbrella. So those employees for Raven are still considered Activision employees, essentially.
Yeah.
So yeah, when this started going live, none of the employees had been notified yet if they were keeping their job. So I think what happened was an email went out, somebody posted the email somewhere, or it was leaked somewhere. I think actually Tom Henderson was one of the first ones maybe to post the email that was sent out. So then the TL was just, because I follow a ton of different devs just to, you know, keep on top of things, because they'll tweet things and say things that you'll never see the COD accounts tweet, you'll never see Charlie Intel tweet about. So you can learn a lot of little things that way. So then everyone started tweeting. Nobody has any clue what's going on. We don't know if we have a job or not. They literally just told us, just keep going about your day, just keep working. And then they started laying people off as the day goes on.
Jeez.
So yeah, so that's the way it goes. It's kind of like, I actually like feel bad because all of these people too were like, thank God, like Bobby's gone. Microsoft is here to save us.
Isn't that funny?
We're now Microsoft employees. 2-3 months later, a bunch of them cut. I mean, I don't know if they expected that or not, but I think that's very normal for any business buying another business. I know, like last time when all of these layoffs took place, I brought my mom's old place of work up because her work would always have layoffs all the damn time, all the time. But their big layoffs came when another company bought them out. They bought them out, laid off a ton of people because they bring in their own people, of course, too. So you're like combining workforces, and then they realize they don't need as many people. And in Microsoft's case, it's probably like, COD's awful. Why do we have 22,000 total Activision devs? I know they're not all working on COD. It's just a joke. So they're like, let's cut some of the slack because we need to make more money, because that is our job as the CEOs and the leaders of the company, is to make money, right? We don't care about the people. We don't think about the people. It's just to make money. We have way too many employees. Yeah.
Yeah. This is not surprising at all. And it's like this has been like the plot of movies for like the last 50 years, is like the big company buys the other company and then starts firing people. That's super normal and to be expected and not surprising. So this is not surprising to me at all. It happens all the time. And like Tanner said, it's like, okay, I'm, Starbucks, I buy some other small coffee chain. Well, we have too many baristas. We don't need them all. Like, we need to get rid of some. And by the way, any company's most expensive expense is employees.
An employee.
Yeah.
Employee.
That's what costs by far the most money. More money than offices, more money than electricity, more money than licensing, more money than advertising. Every company spends the bulk of the money it makes on salaries and stuff. So this is the best way to save some money, is to lay people off. And if you don't need them, you do it. And so that's not surprising for that reason. In addition, we talked about this early on in the podcast. Guess when? 2020, when Warzone blew up way more than Activision expected. We read an article about how all these Activision studios are hiring a ton of people to contend with the overperformance and success of Warzone. They didn't expect it to do as well as it did. They needed more employees to handle the insane player numbers that Warzone had in 2020 when it launched. That they were not expecting it to have. It overperformed. But then lockdown ended, COVID ended, people stopped gaming, people went back to work, and the player count is not as crazy as it was in 2020 when they did all the hiring that they had done in 2020. So, like many, many businesses, they hired a bunch of people, and it was frankly too many. And now that lockdown is over and way fewer people are gaming, they need fewer employees to handle the workload. So they're doing layoffs. So like even if there wasn't an acquisition, I would not be surprised that layoffs were going to happen at Activision because of that huge hiring spree they had done.
Yeah.
And then when you pair it with the acquisition by Microsoft, it is not surprising at all. And by the way, 1,900 people out of 22,000, that's, I mean, what, like 8% of the workforce?
Yeah.
That's a lot, to be fair, but it's not a lot. It's 8%. I don't know. I mean, it sucks for the people affected, but like, this is not something evil that Microsoft has done either. You know?
Yeah.
They have
it's kind of just business, unfortunately.
It's just business. Yeah. I mean, if you have more employees than you need, you have a fiduciary responsibility to your shareholders to get rid of them so that you can bring in more profit for your shareholders, whom you're beholden to. Welcome to publicly traded companies. Welcome to capitalism. It's how it works. Unfortunately, some people are going to get laid off. Hopefully they all worked at Infinity Ward. That would have been, I would be.
That's the unfortunate thing. Yeah, they didn't.
Yeah, we would have rescheduled this episode for like Friday night. I would have bought extremely expensive bourbon. I would have bought a fog machine and poppers and fireworks that I would light in my house to celebrate if it was all Infinity Ward employees who had been fired. Unfortunately, that isn't the case. So it sucks that some people, you know, whatever, got fired. But that's life. And if you work in gaming and you're a good employee and you were good at your job, you will get snatched up by some other company. So it's not like these people are like 60-year-old truckers who got laid off, who have no other skills and can't get another job even if they wanted to. These are like probably youngish guys with tech skills that are like very in demand. They will find jobs elsewhere. These are hireable people that have been laid off. So
it's probably easier to find a job as a 60-year-old trucker, to be honest. Trucking's the backbone of America, man.
Well,
that's truckers.
The AI is pushing them out. But anyways.
That's the same thing with the game devs. Yeah, we probably won't have any human game devs in 15
shout
years.
out to Pal World or whatever. I guess all their art was AI or whatever. I don't hate truckers at all. I'm just saying.
It would not be a field. Video game development would not be a field I would ever want to be in, ever.
Yeah. No.
It's just, I mean, everyone hates on everything you do, including me. So, you know, I can say that. And then it's just, they do have a lot of layoffs. Like, there are certain fields where that is very common. That's definitely one of them. Anything in the tech field is just, your job is never safe, it seems like.
But that's true. But you're also in high demand. So but
so many of them get laid off so often. That's the thing.
Yeah, it would be annoying.
I mean, there was just another big company that had massive layoffs. So that right there in like a month is probably over 5,000 people in the video game field now looking for jobs in that same field.
True.
It's not easy to find another job in.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. But it's not. It's not great for
it's just
laid
the
off
whole
is
tech
always
field.
bad.
That's a rough field. It's a very like cutthroat. You just never know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, then we have some other things here. I don't know who this guy is. Jez Corden. He says, multiple sources tell me Microsoft is laying off the entire internal customer support teams for Activision Blizzard's. Microsoft will outsource the rest to external companies abroad.
Oh, no.
That is very bad as a consumer. That is awful.
Yeah, that's really
ABK
bad.
was one of the few game publishers with high-quality internal customer support team. Well, I don't know about that. Microsoft has also shut down departments dedicated to bringing Xbox games to physical retail, which if you've seen the digital-only Xbox console leaks, well, you can get an idea of where Microsoft is going here.
What?
So physical Microsoft games will probably be going away soon.
So like cloud gaming only or something.
It's just all
That's
downloads, no
weird.
physical copies. Yeah, I mean, when was the last time you bought a physical disc of anything?
Well, okay, yeah, I see. Oh, okay. I misunderstood.
It's just,
yeah,
I mean, this
right.
is a long
I don't
time
care.
coming. I haven't bought a physical game since Red Dead Redemption 2. So whenever that
I
came out,
haven't
was the last time
gotten
I
one
bought.
since.
And before that, it had probably been a couple of years as well.
I think I was literally in high school when I bought a disc glass. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that doesn't matter. You're right.
And then another one here: a huge amount of community managers have also lost their jobs across the company. Blah blah. So yeah, that doesn't sound good. So basically, this sounds like instead of having customer support teams, which I don't know if they actually really did anything in the US, now they will be outsourced to, I mean, probably, you know, the classics,
Likely India
or something like that. Yeah, where Microsoft will pay 30 cents a day to their employees, because why spend $35 an hour or so on some guy living in the States when they can pay some Indian guy 30 cents a day or something. So yeah, that's why they're doing that. So that'll be nothing but worse for the consumer for sure.
Yeah, that's
nothing good will come out of that for anybody other than Microsoft making money.
This is again just I'm surprised Activision wasn't already doing that, frankly.
I'm very surprised as well.
Most companies outsource their customer support to other countries where they can
makes so much sense.
Pay way, way less. Yeah, it does make sense. Like economically, it makes so much sense. And it sucks for the customer because, yeah, if you're like an average American, it's going to be more frustrating and difficult. Not insurmountable necessarily, but yeah, that's, you know. Yeah, super. That's like the least unsurprising thing we've heard about this whole thing so far, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So the next thing here from Jason Schreier, other Blizzard news. Alan Adham, chief design officer and the company's founder, so the founder of Blizzard, is also leaving. And then I guess Blizzard had been designing some survival game called Odyssey, been in development for more than 6 years, is now being scrapped. Here's the thing though, if your game was in development for 6 years, I mean, was it ever really going to come out? I mean, StarCraft was in development for 10 years, and it's like the most uninspired, overrated, overhyped video game launch I've ever seen.
Yep.
So time doesn't really mean anything. I feel like, hey, if you're at like 6 years or something, yeah, I think it is time to scrap it. I mean, how many millions of dollars did you already lose on that project for something that's probably never gonna be ready?
I know. On the one hand, I wanted to bring up Grand Theft Auto, but that's probably the exception, not the rule. Well, GTA 6 has been in development for like 300 years, right?
Yeah, but Rockstar is the best video game studio.
Yeah, I think
they're
the exception.
Publisher,
yeah,
whatever they are.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, not even. Yeah, there's so much better.
I had never even heard of this Odyssey game, so yeah, don't really care.
Neither did I. Yeah.
Whatever.
So next things here, some people I actually follow from COD, as I was saying. So the first one, this is unfortunate. There's a guy named Austin. He says, well, unfortunately, I've been laid off. If anyone's open to a position, blah, blah, doesn't matter. I've spent the last 3 years running player-facing comms for COD Warzone. So this was the community manager for Raven Software. I mean, unironically, probably the least deserving employee under the entire Activision umbrella to be laid off.
True.
Was laid off. J-God even commented, and J-God said that's actually crazy. And Austin said, gonna miss chatting. Can't tell you how many times I would bring up a J-God video with me. I'd bring a J-God video with me when I wanted to make a point. So that kind of does show he was, you know,
an unofficial quality.
He was a little,
member.
he was trying to get what the players wanted, because everything J-God said usually is very fair, and J-God, I think, has a good overall grasp of what the community wants. So that's cool to see, and very unfortunate that guy doesn't have a job anymore there.
Yeah, so, that sucks.
It'll be very interesting to see about 2 months or so from now how the patch notes look for Warzone. And if it was this guy doing them very well, or if it was just Raven overall does a good job. Because I know there are more than one community manager per team, of course. I mean, Raven, I think, has like maybe 3 or 4 at least that I know of. So maybe that won't directly impact us, but I mean, very well could. Maybe less thought put into patch notes, less comms with us in general, with the player base. That would really suck. We'll have to kind of wait and see how that unfolds.
Yeah, like you said, this guy was like really, I mean, if he was the Raven head community manager guy, which is what that sounds like, manager, he was fantastic at his job. This is one of the things we talk about all the time, how good Raven is with communicating with the player base and how responsive they've been, how they handled the covert exfil weapon cases thing. That's like all community management stuff. And that guy was doing a really good job if he was involved in that and to any degree, especially in a leadership role. So that really sucks. And I am curious if Raven's communication with us, the players, will deteriorate. I'm very curious to see. I tend to think no, but maybe. And if it does, if we start getting fewer tweets, worse patch notes, fewer blurbs about explaining why they did things, we will know what happened, and we will remind you guys for sure. But that sucks for this guy. However, he was great at his job, and I think he's going to have, hopefully, little issue getting a position somewhere else. But yeah, that's really, really sad.
Yeah.
And this does also prove, by the way, that they use JGOD videos and exclusive Ace videos where they do the QA testing that the non-existent QA department at any of these studios should have done but didn't do. And then the community manager's like, hey, I'm subscribed to JGOD's YouTube with noties on. He pointed out this bug. I don't know if you guys knew this. You didn't. But we should fix it. And then that's why it gets fixed a week later. We always knew this was what was happening, that Exclusive Ace and JGOD were unofficial QA testers for Activision. Yeah. But this is like literally like confirmation that that's true.
Yeah.
Not that we didn't know, but it's just kind of funny to see in writing.
Yeah, actual confirmation. Yeah. Another one here was a Treyarch dev. He says, unfortunately, today is my last day at Treyarch. This is Tyler Diaz. I can't begin to express how grateful I am for the last 2 years of working on this incredible game. While I might not be involved anymore, I can absolutely promise you that the future of Call of Duty is bright. Again, Treyarch dev. He worked on ranked play for multiplayer and Warzone, I believe, because I started following him, I think, during the Warzone ranked days, because he would kind of tweet some things, and I saw that he was working specifically on ranked play. So yeah, a guy, and he also seemed very passionate. He was one of those guys that was always tweeting about different things. I think he was one of the guys as well that would kind of tweet some things like about their thoughts and like reasonings maybe for doing certain things in ranked play, like aside from the actual main Treyarch comms. Like he was one of those devs that actually said, like, yeah, this is why we did this. Or he would like reply
like
to people
Ted Timmons does.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They use their own platforms for, things like that. So yeah, ranked play guy. And then this is a Sledgehammer Games senior QA lead. He tweeted, I lost basically my entire team. I'm at a loss for words right now. So that's so I guess Sledgehammer QA team was essentially completely cut. Wow. So that may mean too, I saw some people saying, again, Microsoft may be going to a third-party QA team for, who knows, maybe everything in the future.
Interesting. Hot take? That's probably better than what we had before. I'm not kidding. On its face, that doesn't sound good. Yeah. On its face, it sounds like you'd rather have internal QA testing than third-party QA testing. But Call of Duty, since in the past 4 years, has not been good at quality assurance testing. They've been actually notoriously terrible at it. So fire them all and use a third party to do it. I'd be surprised if they did a worse job than the QA we've gotten up until this point, frankly. So like that doesn't. Firing the community manager for Raven, that sucks. The guy who worked on ranked play from Treyarch, that also sucks because the ranked play is one of the arenas that, Activision's been doing very well. Ranked play has run very well last year, and I'm sure will this year as well for multiplayer and to a lesser extent Warzone. That sucks too. But firing a bunch of the QA, Hey man, I'm on board, honestly. Most of them sucked a lot. They weren't doing much. I mean, dude, how many patches have we gotten where there was obviously no QA done? Look at the most recent patch. The game was unplayable for the first day. So whoever was doing QA really dropped the ball, obviously. So if anyone deserved to be laid off, yeah, it was all the QA teams, probably. So this is one arena where I'm like, yeah, this makes sense. I'm kind of glad they got laid off. If there needed to be layoffs, literally Infinity Ward QA is the first place I would do layoffs. It is the first place I would clean house.
Yeah.
So this could actually be a good thing in terms of QA, as crazy as that sounds, going third party. But I don't think QA can get much worse. So yeah, let's try it. Screw it.
Yeah. I mean, QA, it kind of seems like it's just bottom of the barrel too, but kind of a real entry level, basic, awful job, it seems.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, by far the most unfortunate part of all of this is I think Joe Seacott and Pat Kelly are probably both safe, which is really unfortunate. I mean, they should have been, hey, on that list of 1,900 employees, Joe Seacott should have been number one on that list, you know? If you're going to lay off all these people, I would love to see them gone, throw them off the cliff.
Here's how, the proverbial cliff, of course. Yeah. Here's how I think this goes is like
the train station.
So again, there are 22,000 employees. And the CEO of Microsoft, or the board at Microsoft, obviously doesn't know all these people. So I think what happens is they say, hey, we need to lay off like this many people. How can we split this up? So then they talk to the studio head at Infinity Ward, for example, and say, all right, you need to lay off as many people as you can, and it has to be a minimum of like whatever 60 people or like 100 people or something. And then that guy, the head of Infinity Ward, then takes that number 100 or something, and then he gets all of his department heads under him. So like the audio guy, the art guy, the audio lead, the art lead, the community management lead, the QA lead. And he tells all those team leaders, hey, you each need to lay off whatever, 10 people. And then those people are actually in charge of like the individuals who get canned. Obviously, this has to be how it works, right?
Yeah, that is for sure how it works.
So the reason, unfortunately, that Joe Apricot and Pat Kelly still have jobs is because they were the ones who were in charge of deciding who gets laid off, basically.
Yeah.
So they were like kind of always safe, which is a real shame, as you've said, because no one is more deserving of not having a job than Joe Seacott. I mean, no one.
Yeah.
On Earth. Yeah.
Yeah, and then, you know, they probably laid off people that actually would try to talk back and say, hey, we think we should reduce the amount of screen shake when using any gun in Modern Warfare 2. Joe probably called them in and said, you're gone.
Yeah.
Get the out of here right now. That's what he said, I think.
He's probably got a little notebook
in his face
where he keeps track of everyone who's ever disagreed with him. And he's like, oh, just give me a reason. And now he's got one. Yeah.
He has a little black book too, but it's a different reason for having a little book.
Yeah. Yeah. So
but yeah, that is how they lay people off, because I know that's how my mom's went too. Basically, the heads pick who gets laid off. It's like supposedly like random, but it's like, how can you make it random? You're picking somebody to it can't just be random.
Yeah, of course it's not random.
You kind of have to pick who gets laid off.
Yeah. Yeah, and they have ways to do that. So yeah. So that's been all over the timeline. So we will see how this affects the video game itself. This is one of the few like business things that happen. So like we've talked about, we've followed this story on this podcast, the saga of the Microsoft acquisition, from when it was announced or like leaked even, to when all the court things were happening and the anti-monopoly, arguments being made by certain governments, blah, blah, blah. We've been following this up until now, and we will continue to. And for a lot of those things, it was just for curiosity's sake that we would, talk about these things. Because most of the time, a business decision, especially that far up, when we're talking about like the board and like CEOs and stuff, isn't really going to impact you as a player of the video game very much. In this case, though, I think this will have ramifications that we will notice.
Yeah.
Like the customer service one's very obvious. If you need customer service and you have to call them, that really sucks. Just make a new account at that point. But if you if you find yourself in that position, you will be directly impacted by this. These what we talked about today. Like you'll literally be calling someone you wouldn't have called before. But then also like the Raven community management person, we'll see how that affects us. The QA layoffs, and if they go third party, we will see how that affects us. I don't think we as players of the games are going to notice anything soon, but I think we're going to notice something in like 6 months and beyond. We're going to notice, how has QA gotten? How has community engagement gotten? And maybe other things as well. I think this will affect everyday gamers. I just don't think it's going to happen right away. But we will see the effects at some point. And it'll be interesting to see. But, this is what happens when huge acquisitions like this happen. Things get changed. Yeah. So, we'll see. Anyway, that's it. Boys and girls, hope you enjoyed. We will be back for our next episode on Saturday. We're going to do a proper first impressions of this season now that the game is actually playable. And they've done some other patches as well. That'll be interesting to talk about. Maybe talk some more about the AMR9, the HRM. And, like sniping is another one, for example. Give a little more of an in-depth kind of review of this patch as we gear up for Season 2, which should be exciting and have more content than we got, frankly, with this update. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed. Patreon.com/thedropshot. We'll see you on Saturday. Remain humble.
Stay humble.